I've got this hashtag. No one got the memo, because we've like covered the high level Soviet ministers got Pfizer face, right? The digital minister for New Zealand, or one of the New Zealand counties or states or whatever they're called over there, got Pfizer face. The digital Soviet minister for Canada, Theresa Tang, I think that's her name. She got Pfizer face, and there was one other as well.
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, and his missus got Pfizer face, both of them, or at least I read an article that said that. I don't know about the legitimacy, but it looks like Sadiq Khan may have suffered with coinciditis, or
did he not get the memo?
Or climate change, as it said. Look at that.
Careful.
It says climate change literally just right under his head. Is that like? Yes, he suffered a while at the COP26 climate change conference.
Well, he was so shocked. He was so shocked at the apocalyptic future that climate change is going to inflict upon humanity, and that his only way out was to just bow out and have.
Because I guess inside the conference there was no actual climate change, but he was shown graphs and figures. So is that like passive climate change? Like, you know, you die from passive smoking. Okay, if climate change can give you coinciditis, right? Well, what about if you like see the effects, or like the secondhand effects of climate change, then you get like passive climate change coinciditis. Who knows? But yeah, no one got the memo. Who are some other good examples we can think of?
We've got 3 emails here.
All right.
One's from me. So we've got Bruce. He's saying, can't believe no one's emailed in. So I'm saying, hi guys, hope you're all good. Thanks, Bruce.
Big shout to Bruce.
And we've got Lee. He's emailed, I'll have one if you get this. My phone won't let me do multitasking.
Oh yeah.
Well, respect, love your work.
Ask him if he wants Ryan Sanders or Terra Slim.
Okay, I'll email them back. Well, I mean, they're listening, guys. Which one do you want? Well, it's one each, isn't it?
Lee
what about me? I've emailed in as well. I said I deserve the CD because I'm the only peasant who's emailed in. But obviously, that's,
you were too late. Someone beat you.
That's all right. That's fine. So they get one each. They get one each. Look.
Fucking time waster.
Yeah, peasants.
Who are some other good examples of high-level people that didn't get the memo? I can think of one. The Queen, the Princess of Thailand.
I was literally just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, the King of Thailand.
Wow,
sister.
we've got a live meme here from Auntie Covia.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You'll like this.
How did it come?
I'm gonna ping it. It's on my Facebook. I'm gonna send it over to yours.
Yeah, send it to my Facebook.
This is.
We love it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, stop! No. No.
Wow, this is great work, Auntie Covia. Top marks again.
Wait a minute.
Let's get that up.
I don't know if I like
Let's broadcast this.
Is that me as old school? Is that old school
David Icke, yeah.
Oh my God. I thought it was Jimmy Savile.
No. It's David Icke. It's King David. This is Lance Icke.
This is like
David Murdoch. This is David Murdoch.
This is David Icke in 1991 on Philip Wogan.
Terry Wogan show.
I said Philip Wogan. I'm thinking it's Philip Schofield too much. Auntie Covia, what an honour. What an honour. Thank you so much, because this is David, or King David, in his turquoise stage, as it's known, when he used to wear the turquoise tracksuit.
Man hates God. Jesus said that they hated him. They will hate those who preach his gospel. Jesus Christ is the most hated man on planet Earth today. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. But God will prevail, because he is the King of kings and the Lord of lords. He is the King of compassion, the lily of the valley. He is the great I am, the Alpha and Omega. He is the beginning and the last. He is the Lion of Judah.
Ask questions that are the deepest. What is a religious extremist? A terrorist with a Wahhabi thesis? Pedo priest, praying to Jesus, a rabbi, circumcising a penis, gesturing God, acting fiendish, lecturing mobs back. Who is the cleanest? Claiming we're equal, acting elitist. Listen up, there's lies in his sermon. Why's that? You bicker is vermin. Hypocrites ain't hard to determine. Gotta rise up, be wise like a serpent. Beware the safety of serpents who prey on the weak, headed in burden. Dissidents are destined for burning. Indoctrination is different to learning. You know the fables are coded. Demons, angels, the meaning's eroded. Reasons known by those who devoted. Revised, rewrote and promoted. Years past, scriptures unfolded. The names change but never the motive. Translated, wildly misquoted. Sugar-coated, violent, corrosive notions. Charged with bitter emotions. Boarded ships and sail across oceans. Holy books, gunpowder explosions. Hiding text like Trojans. Insidious lines were spoken. Indigenous minds were broken. Then he tread the path of the chosen. And then struck with a hoof when it blown.
But many people want to curse him, but they still, he is who he is. He's Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus Christ, God's perfect man and man's perfect God. You can't say that you haven't been warned on the day of judgment. Change your ways and turn to God. Because one day you will die.
Dangerous statements. Third degree burns and hospital patients. Far-reaching increased engagement. Fast speaking procedure replacements. Unleashing. Verbal wordplay leave them seething. Gasping. Belly breathing. Fasting. No more eating. No more 8-bar repeating. You can't greet me with seasoned greetings. When we've got preachers teaching kids Satan's teachings. Degrading heathens. Concrete beliefs. No reasons. False idols. In league with demons. Across unsecular regions. Imams, rabbis, priests, and deacons. From the studio to the stadium. Your basic levels, I'm raising them. I drop knowledge to expand the cranium. Free your mind, never enslaving them. No games, I don't play with them. I make a sample sweat gymnasium under the radar. Subterranean bars made hard with a full titanium. From the booth to the bleachers, install the truth for the mouth of the teachers. Elevate youth, Babylon's reaches. Renegade disfiguring features. Purge inconsiderate creatures. From the earth to the love increases. Urge all illiterate leaders. Learn my words, give birth with the speakers.
You will stand before the judgment seat, the Bible says, and he will remind you of your evil ways. You'll be afraid and scared, you will not be able to say nothing. I'm telling you, you can go to a place called heaven where the streets are made of gold, the Bible says, where there's joy and peace. You can go to heaven where you will drink from the throne of God, crystal clear water, you'll never thirst. But if you go to hell, you will thirst throughout eternity. In heaven, the gates are made out of pure pearl. The walls are made out of jasper. And you have precious stones in walls, but the gates of hell will be old, rusted iron gates. If you die today, will you cry out beyond the gates of hell throughout eternity?
Jacob of Ephraim, Solar Wolf, welcome back. We apologise.
Hey, not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. Okay, so basically, when I was sitting down with this Jewish rabbi and we were talking about signs in the heavens, with him knowing a little bit that I follow it just a little bit. I didn't really tell him a whole lot. He was, he reminded me that when Jesus was born, that there were signs in the heaven, the same signs in the heaven for the Messiah coming back. For this Jesus are the ones that they're looking for from this Messiah. Well, there was the comet Neowise that happened from spring to summer that we had in 2020. And then also the Bethlehem star, the same two signs that preceded the birth of Jesus, right? Yeah, so that actually kind of got my awakening, like, holy crap. And when that happened, I kind of knew that I need to start paying attention to what's going on up in space. I didn't really know what it was, but I've always been kind of watching, through telescope, watching planets and the stars and moons and stuff like that. And then I started really paying attention to solar weather. And because solar weather, and of course, as you start learning, going down rabbit holes, you start learning about cuneiform texts. When we're talking about the Nibirians, the Anunnaki, as people call them.
Sure.
The Anunnaki can mean a multitude of races. I mean, Anunnaki literally means those from the heavens that came to the earth. But we're specifically talking about the Nibirians, those from Nibiru that go around our second sun, which is Nemesis, right?
Yeah.
So I started really watching, and I started taking photos and stuff like that. And that's some of the stuff that I've sent to you. Some of them are photos that I've actually taken, and I've done just different little things with them, just because I thought it would look cool. And then other things are actual satellite images that I've been getting. And some of them are personal photos of like spacecraft, things that I'm noticing from satellite and things that we're noticing here. I've got a couple others from other things that I've seen. I've downloaded those onto my computer that I've sent to you. So that way I could go, wait a minute here. This is what I'm seeing on this satellite. This is what I'm seeing on this satellite. And I'm able to start putting things together. And dude, we're literally living if you want to say a Star Trek reality, but there's literally Star Wars going on out in space. Like I've got some of them photos you'll see. I mean, it's just lit right up. You can see everything going on.
And you've taken these yourself, have you, Jacob?
So, some of them, yes. Now I can't see on the screen where you're at. That's why I sent you the file. I didn't know if we could if we'd be able to do a share screen or whatever, and then I could just kind of go through them with you. But I mean, I can watch on my phone and watch where you're at, and I can kind of let you know some of them that I have taken myself, actually.
Okay, cool. Lance is just going through some of the slides now.
Yeah. So you've taken those pictures yourself, have you?
Yeah, a lot of them I have. Some of them are actual screenshots from satellites that I've got or downloaded from different websites. So if we started off the way I sent it to you, I don't know if it received this way because I created a zip file and I don't know if it screws it up. But this one here that we're looking at, this is from LASCO C3. Okay, so if you see the little white circle in the very center, that's actually the surface of the sun. And then you have an occulter disk that actually kind of surrounds it to block the light from the sun so we can actually see coronal mass ejections. And as you can see here, you actually, on this one, you can see the plasma coming off from the sun.
Wow.
But you can also see to the left of that disk, you can see a small craft there.
Sure.
But if you also look to the right of it and you see that plasma where it has that little glitch that's in the middle there, and it almost looks like a skull, like a skeleton skull right in the middle. That's actually believe it or not, it's a Borg cube, and they have the ability of bending light and screwing up the image. And some of those that I've sent to you, you'll see the little actual Borg cube, and you'll see the different light variations from one end to the other. Usually goes up in a triangle.
Right, okay, this is mad. Fuck, we're only on the first slide.
Okay. Wait a minute, let's get to the next slide. Go through the slides. I'm sorting this sound issue out. Go through the
Yeah,
slides.
so we've got another. Are you watching the screen, Jacob? Can you see the slides, yeah?
Yeah. This is a good one. So this here, we're looking at LASCO C3 on the left, and then on the right, we're looking at stereo ahead. Okay, so the one on the left, you can see the spacecraft there on the left, and then you can see. Now, I don't know if you have a touchscreen, if you have the ability to zoom in, but if you actually zoom in at the very top of the LASCO C3, which is the blue one, you'll see a little Borg cube right at the top.
Yeah, we can see it.
Right where the light bends. See that little square?
Sure.
There's also another little Borg cube, and if you follow that line down where it kind of comes over and it zigzags, there's a Borg cube right in that crotch.
Yeah.
Of where it's at.
Yeah.
Now, the one on the right, believe it or not, those are crafts, and I've got several of these crafts, and I mean, that would be like your typical disc-shaped UFO, and you can almost like see like where the propulsion is, like almost like where it kind of concaves up underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And they're passing right in front. In fact, they typically travel in pairs, but in pairs of 3. So there's usually always 6 of them. Sometimes you'll see more, but normally you don't see less than 6. It's normally 2, 2, and 2, and they'll go in like a bowed pattern like this wherever they travel. And I see them all over the place.
Jacob, how far? I mean, I know it's purely speculation, but how far do you think these craft are flying from the sun? How close are they to the sun?
Well, it's hard to really answer that because these are smaller crafts. Okay, these are like the little scout ships. So there are motherships somewhere, and I've actually got some of those. In fact, some of the Borg cubes that I've sent to you. Actually, there's one where you can actually see them coming out of the surface of the sun through certain angstroms of light that I've sent you, and you'll see they're freaking monstrous. So, and some of the other photos I sent you, I at one time was believing them to be Nemesis or Nibiru that getting pushed off of the sun. I'm like, no, that can't be because it would be such a dramatic push that we would end up having a great solar flare. We'd end up having like a Carrington event kind of an ordeal. Now, this here, what we're looking at, this is what I thought was Nemesis or Nibiru. but I don't think it is. I think these are large motherships that are out there. And from some of the different things that I've been following and listening to, they're saying that as well. And I'm like, And I've seen so many different shots of the sun where I've actually seen them coming out of the sun, out of an actual sunspot group that's actually flaring. They're actually coming out. So like our sun is literally a star gate, and they're coming out of the sun surface.
I mean, I've seen some footage of this online, and it looks almost like a jellyfish, like leaving the surface of the sun.
What sometimes it looks like is they're sucking the energy from the sun.
That's what I was looking into. Is them as like kind of recharging their ship or refueling from the sun.
But in normal science,
in some of my videos, you can actually see where the plasma is actually kind of coming off the surface of the sun in a like a tornado type fashion.
Yeah, that's right.
But you'll see it going off the eastern or the western limb, and you'll see it spinning off in that direction, and there'll just be this big round void that's there, and it'll just be going right over towards that void. And I've actually got a couple videos where you can actually see, after a little while, you can see this big round, just a black object, and it's like darkened out. You can see it lifting up and going, and literally lifting off the sun after it's had enough of the plasma.
Wow.
Yeah.
But in the normie sphere science, Jacob, are we told that these are like solar flares? These occurrences that can be observed. Is that how they would be explained away? These observations of things apparently coming out of the sun.
Yeah, some people. Well, you have solar flares, you have coronal mass ejections, and they're both different. Okay, solar flare is when you have the polarity. Basically, if you were to take your battery, right, and you hook it up with jumper cables, and you just take them, you touch them together, you're going to get that, that spark, right? That's the same thing with the sun surface. You got your positive and your negative polarity of the sun. And so when you have a flare, it's kind of like the same thing, and it does a flash. Okay, and that gives immediate X-ray radiation to the surface of the sun. In fact, from the time it goes off on the sun to the time it reaches us is about 8 minutes. Okay, now a coronal mass ejection is a ribbon of plasma that gets ejected from the surface of the sun. Now, typically, if you have a large enough flare, you're going to have a coronal mass ejection. Especially if it's a long duration flare, you're definitely going to have plasma. But sometimes you have ribbons of plasma that are just kind of coiled along the sun's surface, and sometimes they just lift off, and there's no flare. So it's something that always has to be watched. Now, this is one of my favorite ones actually, because the one on the left in green, that's actually looking at 94 angstroms of light. You can see that little trail behind it. You can see its propulsion. And then if you zoom in really close, you can actually see him individually and his propulsion behind him. And then on the one on the right, that's actually from SEEDS Secchi satellite. And that's two large, round, planetary type objects, or gigantic motherships, if you will.
Okay. This is a very interesting subject. I mean, we're going to get a lot of views on this. People are going to be really interested in this.
Oh, dude, man. Oh, and by the way, I was listening to what you were saying, like, holy crap, I sent you home, but trust me, dude, that's nothing.
I can't wait to see it.
I literally have over 5,000 photos on my computer. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
Nice. I must admit, Jacob, I hadn't heard of you until earlier in the week when Lance told me who we were having on the show. But I literally just did a quick look online, watched a couple of your videos, and then just thought I'd see what you have to say tonight. But yeah, mate, I'm definitely going to check this out in my own time.
Yeah, see, now I have to give credit where credit's due, and then I also started seeing through some crap. There's a couple other channels that I was following that I don't follow anymore. Well, one of them I do just because I want to hear the bull crap that he says, and he's actually paid opposition, believe it or not. And
right.
So because some people are smart and they can put things together, but then you start learning, wait a minute, this guy's not mentioning this. Oh, this guy's saying some of the wrong stuff here, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to do my own, and I try to simplify it so that way, when I'm speaking to people, I don't want it to be, so technical data that you're going, what's going on? I try to keep it simple as if I'm talking to a 12-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Should we move on to another slide, Jacob?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one. Here we go. Oh, okay. So this is a similar image to the previous one on the right-hand side, but it looks like you've highlighted a spherical object at sort of 2 o'clock.
Now, what I do here typically is I'll take several screenshots of the same image, but it's through different times. So, like when that large round planetary type object is close to the occulter disk, and you see it moving out, when I'm watching it, I'm clicking and you can see it moving away. It's clearly moving away from the sun. So, and I show that in a lot of my videos. You can actually see it moving, transversing across out of the side of the satellite. So,
awesome, man, awesome. What
can I
ask?
I mean, it's not like that's not Mercury. It's not Venus. No,
this is something else. Yeah. Can I ask what are you actually taking these pictures with?
What's that?
What can I actually ask? What are you taking these pictures with? What kind of camera?
Okay, now these are actually downloads from the SETI satellite website. I have several websites that I use. I use their satellites, and I'm accessing direct to the satellite and getting the images off.
Okay, cool. So that's good. We know what we're looking at here. Should we move on to the next one, Jacob? Let's have a look.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Have we done this one? Yeah, we did this one. A lot of CDs. They do. Omar Beats is just saying in the studio they look like CDs.
Okay, now here we got 2 of them here. Now here you can see the groups. You can see the groups of 3. They're pairs, but you can see the group of 3 pairs that are there on the one on the left, and then on the one on the right, that's actually like another large round planetary object. Now, if you look at the picture on the left, you can clearly see out of the lower right side, you can clearly see how the plasma looks when it comes off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of spreading out. It's kind of, dissipated. It's just
like an eruption from a volcano almost.
Yeah, but the one on the right, there's a large round something in the middle there. And I've got those all over the place. Like there's those round objects in a coronal mass ejection ain't supposed to be there.
No.
It's not a natural ordeal. It's something close to the sun pulling out plasma, and as it goes, it's dragging plasma with it.
Right, okay. So Jacob, what do you think's going on here personally? What's your personal opinion on what these ships are doing? Like you said, are they using it as a kind of gateway portal or stargate, if you will, or are they using it to refuel their ships, charge their ships in some way? What's your take on this, if you could speak to that?
All of the above.
All of the above. Excellent, okay.
All of the above. They're using the plasma for refueling. They're traveling in and out of the sun's surface for traveling. Because, I mean, when we look at we know that it's an electric universe, right? So when you think of it that way, the sun connects to, if this is like a central hub for like your nervous system, and you've got your connectors from one section to another section. You've got that line. Well, that would be a wormhole from one sun to another. Same thing in our galaxy and in the universe. That's how they work. Right.
Okay. So it's wormhole to wormhole to change location. Yep. I've got a question here in the chat from Donna Harper. She's saying, why is there a circle in the middle of them all if from satellite? Ask him to show the ones that he's taken himself.
The circle in the middle, the circle in the very center, that white circle, that's actually the surface of the sun. That indicates to let you know where the surface of the sun is. Yeah. Okay, and the black disc is an occulter disc, and on these images it doesn't show very well, but there's actually like a little handle that kind of comes down from in front of the satellite, and then it holds the occulter disc in front of it to block the sunlight. Kind of like, when you go outside and you look up at the sun, you put your hand in front of it.
Sure,
but, it's not blinding you, but you can still
so it's
see
not blinding you.
The light, same kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Just so everyone's aware. I know you did say that at the start of the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Right. So,
hey, these are some really cool images, man.
Yeah. Let me just get rid of them at the moment because I want to go a little bit further into the slideshow because there was. Oh right. Okay. Here's the one I was looking at. Please, Jacob. This looks incredible.
Is that COVID-19?
So is this also the surface of the sun?
Yes. Now this here is looking right at the surface of the sun. This right here is it's SUVI EVI. I think it's 184 angstroms of light, I believe. But it's got the data on it. You can actually go and look some of these images up on ISWA, which is a website, and where you can actually pull different data from different satellites, and it's all collected on one website. Now I use multiple sites, and I always double verify to make sure that things are correct. I did happen to see, I think Catherine was like, you can't trust NASA. And you know what? 100% agree. That's why I don't trust NASA. That's why I go and I'm accessing other satellites from other corporations or entities that own the satellites besides NASA. I don't just use, I wouldn't trust NASA to sit the right way on a toilet seat.
Yeah, sure. I'd rather sit down for dinner, a 3-course meal with Marina Abramovic than trust NASA.
If you actually zoom in really close, I don't know if you're going to be able to, but on these, you'll actually see where you have some of your, the brighter spots, and you'll actually see little black dots all in them because they're actually coming out of the sun. I don't know if you'll be able to do that for everybody or not.
I'm just trying to at the moment. I apologize, guys, because I've been trying to sort out this.
Wait a minute. No, these ones have the Borg cubes. You see the black Borg cubes on them?
Sorry, I just had to exit that view to do the zoom, and it's just fucked things up. One sec. Where do we get to?
I know what you're talking about, Jake. The black cube, bottom right of the left-hand image.
Yeah, those ones had the Borg cubes. Now there's one of them where it shows it in yellow and blue, and they're right next to each other. I think I kind of spliced it together, and you can see it coming out of the surface of the sun. These ones here, it's just in front, but you can clearly see the one on the left. It's in the lower right corner.
Shit.
That's another Borg cube, and I've seen them on LASCO C2 and LASCO C3, which only show coronal mass ejections, and those are the ones that are bending the light. And when you're moving forward, you'll actually see half the screen won't move, and then the other half will for like one or two frames, and then it'll catch back up, and the bent side will actually disappear.
So skeptics would. I've seen actually some videos of these anyway. I'd like you to explain to the skeptics of why this is not just a pixelation image. You know, where they've like taken out a square of pixels.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
That's all right, everyone does. So I've seen a video where some skeptics have been talking about these Borg cubes, and they say that it's just a pixelation issue of the picture as opposed to an actual Borg cube. So what would be your sort of argument against that?
Okay, when it comes to pixelation on these cameras, and they are digital. Okay, then there's a lot of skeptics on it's digital. Well, that's where one of the photos that I actually sent you, I believe, and you can actually see it coming out of the surface of the sun. So it's half covered by the plasma on the surface of the sun, and you can see the other half. You can't get a pixelation of it with the plasma gases covering half of the cube.
No, that's correct.
Sure.
It doesn't work that way. Okay, the other thing is that the pixelations on this are actually much, much smaller. Way smaller.
Well, you can see
so
if you zoom in, you can see that anyway.
Cubes like that, that would have to be an intentional put in there, which I don't think it is, because like I said, one of them is in the yellow instead of the blue like we're looking at. One of them's in yellow, and you can see it literally coming half out of the sun.
I just worked out how to zoom in without completely messing up my Schwab show. Sorry, guys. You could see me out getting quite annoyed there. Right, yeah, this is how we zoom in. So, yeah, look, I'm going to say it straight away. What you're saying is true, Jacob, because I know a little bit about digital images. The pixelates, this is actually very high definition images. There's no way you're going to get a cube that big that's completely pixelated out. That's actually hundreds of thousands of pixels.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what Jacob said, is that someone's deliberately put there, but there'll be no reason for that to happen.
Yes, sir.
And if you're saying that,
there's a lot of guys on YouTube trying to sort of, disinform this as such, but I think they're lost when they come like looking at facts of digital images. They get lost very quickly.
Okay, I'm just trying to find another Borg cube here. Here's another good example that you've got.
Let's just say, okay, let's just take the Borg cube thing, and we're just going to set it over here for a second, okay? This is the one I want you to look at right now. Brilliant. The one on the right. The one on the right.
Oh, yes.
So you see the Borg cube there?
Yeah. There it is.
So you look at the one on the right, coming out of the surface of the sun.
100%. Look at that. Let me see if I can zoom in some more. No, I can't. That's the maximum zoom in. I'll just make that big screen so everyone can see it. Maximize that motherfucker. Right, so yeah, if you look here, guys, 50% of the Borg cube that is literally jet black is actually coming out of a plasma cloud. That's quite obvious. And let me just
covering half the surface of that thing. That ain't no pixelation.
Let me just reiterate, right? Did you take this photo yourself?
I actually saved. Sometimes it'll be a screenshot. This one was a download. I actually downloaded it from that satellite imagery because each one of these satellites, you can go to each individual site, but some places you can go to, you can get multiples. So I can access different satellites at like certain locations. So this one is a download from that satellite itself, from that satellite imagery from the corporation that owns it, and downloaded it.
What would be amazing is if you could get a sequential set of photographs where you can see it like in one position and then a few millimeters over and a few millimeters over and so on and so forth. So you can see
now
the Borg cube moving.
On this one here, certain satellites, they take pictures at different times. They don't do real time every second. So they're actually taking pictures. Some of them it's every 12 minutes. Sometimes it's every 6 minutes. Sometimes it's every 36 minutes. It just depends on which satellite it is, because as they start getting to the end life of a satellite, they take longer to take the pictures because they're trying to make the satellite last longer. You know what I'm saying? Because the battery life on it and stuff. So,
Jacob, I've just
this one here.
Sorry, I've just asked Lance to zoom in on the bottom left-hand side of the picture of the sun here. Can you see?
There you go.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
That looks like
And
some
little tornado.
on the right-hand side as well, there's some almost looks like fucking structures coming out the sun.
Do you know what I've seen? Right, is any close-up picture of the sun which has been filtered like this, you can see lots of objects around it.
Yeah.
That one there, the one that you're looking at on the lower left, that's the plasma that's coming off the sun, and it's actually going over to a round object.
Sure.
And I actually have I don't know exactly where it's at on my playlist, but it's in one of my playlists, and you can actually see the plasma at this round object, and all of a sudden it just goes and it just lifts off.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's some fantastic video footage from the satellites showing aircraft around the sun, even around our own planet. When we've had fireworks displays over the New Year's, there was a whole group of objects seeming to be watching the fireworks. You know.
So with those that like what we're talking about with the Borg cubes, if it happens to be a digital anomaly, okay, let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Let's just take that to the side, just for a minute. We know that they tell us truth in movies, television shows, music, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So anybody that's familiar with Star Trek, you're going to know about Borg cubes. Well, is there any religion or theological belief that worships a freaking Borg cube?
Satanism.
There might be one or two.
I mean, go to Mecca. You'll see a big black Borg cube, and they're going around counterclockwise it.
I'm trying to find a picture of the Borg cube that you sent. Well, here we go. This is it. Sorry, mate, but you literally sent me about 5 billion images, and they're all jumbled up when I unpacked the zip file.
At least 33 billion.
I think it was a small file.
Is that a small file?
Hey, maybe this is where maybe this is where God Vaj's Ben stone comes from.
I think
God Vaj in his earlier videos, he talks about the sun being used as that's how the parasite comes through.
It's the portal for the parasite.
Yeah.
Now, let me just ask, Jacob, you watch Rise Above. You've got to be familiar with God Vaj's work. We talk about him enough.
Oh yeah, I follow him. Paul, hey, how you doing, Paul? Rob, lots of the guys that you guys mention and talk about. I watch a lot of their stuff as well.
Awesome, man, awesome.
So, how does if we're looking at the sun and you're actually saying that it seems like physical objects and spacecraft are coming out of the sun, I've got right. Okay, what's your view on what the realm is then? Because I'm not going to lie, I've seen some of the comments in the live chat and people saying, "Oh, this is a bit nassery. Is this guy globy? Like what?" What do you? I'm not on either side of the fence. I'm a simulationist.
Is this gentleman spherical?
Is this so? What is your view on like space, like and the realm? I don't like to use the labels that you know I'm clearly avoiding here.
Yes, I understand. Okay, so from scientific data that I've looked at now, and I'll tell anybody this.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident to a 90% that we're a globe, but not perfectly round. We're oblong, like an oblong globe, because of the centrifugal force of the Earth rotating.
Like a donut.
If you were to take a look at the sea level in England and take a look at sea level anywhere on the equator that you want to, there's 23 kilometers more water on the equator than there is in England because of the centrifugal force. I mean, take a kid by the hands and spin around in a circle and their feet are going to come up.
So
same kind of principle.
Are you officially saying that you're, rather than being a flatty, you're a glober?
I would be leaning more towards a glober, if you will. However, I'm going to say this. I've never been into space.
Yep.
Most of the listeners have never been into space. We can't 100% answer that question.
Sure, absolutely. No, that's always been my position.
I'm very open-minded to flat Earth, globe Earth, and this crater Earth with the bend stones. I've followed up on that, and I'm kind of maybe, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of things that kind of don't make sense when it comes to the flat Earth or the crater Earth, and that being the North and South Pole moving. Well, I mean, our North and South Poles are moving.
Sure.
The South Pole's not even in Antarctica anymore. It's in the ocean.
Master Lee, you've been really quiet.
How about the bigger Earth theory? The greater Earth?
I'm open-minded to that too.
Because can you see that, although you think that we may be on a globe, can you see that there are problems with like how big our realm is supposed to be, flight paths? There's problems about how big this ice wall is. Is Antarctica really just to the south? Is it surrounding us? Could we be an enclosure on a larger globe?
The fact the South Pole's in the ocean and not attached to a continent.
The map is not the terrain.
Well, here's the thing, and that's been a large argument. But when you really look at the landmass of Antarctica, it's like the 5th largest continent. It's massive.
Huge.
So for anybody to really go around it, I mean, that'd be like saying, hey, go completely around South America. That's going to take you a long time to do. But also include, you got icebergs and terrible weather and crap down at the South Pole. So it's kind of, or should I say down in Antarctica. But when you look at your poles, your North and South poles, they're actually on the move. They're actually moving. They're taking a hiatus. And the reason for that is because those of us that know about, the Anunnaki, and that Nibiru and Nemesis, our second sun, it comes around between 12 and 13,000 years. Basically 12,600 is kind of the middle shoot, but it comes around that in a regular cycle that it comes around. So with that being said, think about another star with the same density as our sun, which is Sol. Okay. So imagine that thing coming through. What's going to happen to our positive and our negative polarities? It's going to start going like this, because like a magnet, you're going to start getting drawn to the stronger source, right?
Don't forget, you've got two. You have got two north and south. You've got true north, and you've got magnetic north.
You've got your Atlas north and south, and then you've got your magnetic, and the magnetic poles are the ones that are moving.
Well, and I believe it's 4 degrees. If you put
it
every
on a
cycle.
globe, and they're actually going to the same. They're actually going towards the same location. Yeah. That only happens when another large, strong magnetic body is pulling them that direction. That's the only way that works.
Mm. Yeah, when I did my mountain leadership training, they teach you about like magnetic north and how the poles shift 4 degrees every cycle, which is interesting considering that's a it goes against the mainstream view.
The thing is that we've gone through Earth flips. It happens every 12 to 13,000 years. The geological data and geological data is actually proving all of the different, like the mud floods and all these, Noah's flood and stuff like that. I mean, multiple cultures did survive. It wasn't just Noah and his family. I mean, even if, and I hate referencing the Bible, but I'm very familiar with it. But when you look in the Bible, Noah and his family, they went out, and then all of a sudden there was other wives there and other people. So they weren't the only ones to survive. Okay. So when you think about that, it's a regular occurring thing. Our old North and South Pole, or could be the original, who knows? Because I don't know how many times it flipped. I wasn't around back then.
Sure.
But
Can I just chime in here, Jacob? Can I just chime in here?
We've got the Bermuda Triangle, and then we've got the Devil's Triangle in the Indian Ocean on the other side. And both of them have severe magnetic anomalies that everyone's very familiar with. Well, just like a refrigerator magnet, when you put electronic magnetism to it, it has memory, and then you can put it up on your refrigerator. Same thing with the Earth. We got an iron molten core. So with it being our north and south for a long while, and then it flips around, it's still going to have the memory of that magnetism, which is why we have magnetic anomalies.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually. That does make sense.
Can I just chime in here quickly?
Yeah. Sorry, you've been waiting for
please.
I'm not saying this is what I believe. I'm just saying this is some research that I came across. So, once upon an age, however many years ago, I wouldn't even like to speculate. This is just a theory as well. So again, this isn't, no one's saying this is what happened or anything like everyone, and for the listeners.
Yeah.
So apparently, once upon a time, it's theorized that the planet, globe, crater, whatever we're on, doesn't matter in this sense, was on a different trajectory in regards to its I don't know what the word is. In regards to how it's at the moment we have seasons. Yeah, we have 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. Well,
yes,
this guy's theorizing that once upon a time it wasn't like that. It was just pretty much an even keel of sort of spring.
Are you talking about Jason Archaic?
Spring into summer. Now, there's a couple of researchers that this is actually Mark Passio, which pointed me into the direction of this, but it's not his theory. And then he talks about the Anunnaki as well, coming to Earth and using whatever was here before as a kind of experiment, and that's where we came from. I'm talking about human origins now, and they fucked it up, and they actually caused deliberately a cataclysm, which then knocked the Earth off of its.
And put us at a 33-degree tilt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then that meant that the Earth was at a different angle to the sun, spinning around. So that's why we now have sort of autumn, spring, summer,
That's
winter.
why we live like the 33rd
Correct.
density.
Again, that's
very
just a
true.
theory.
Now,
That's just a theory.
Yeah, Jason Archaic says something similar.
I've actually read the Ascension Dictionary, History of Humanity. In fact, Rob did too. In fact, Rob from Esoteric Nights in Malta, big shout out, Rob, love you, bro. When he was reading about it, I was like, what? And so that's actually how I first found Rob, was when he was reading that. And I was like, well, that's an interesting thing, finding how they, the power system of the Earth and how it caused the tilt. But biblically, we have evidence of this too. And it's Joseph in his coat of many colors, when he talks about his dreams, about how the stars would bow to him at the end. Well, how are you going to get stars to bow? So let's say that you're standing up and you're looking, and all of a sudden the stars start to move. That's because the Earth actually began to tilt and got that 33 degree tilt. So no matter how that happened, it still happened. And we've got the Bible that actually records it. It's actually recorded in Sumerian cuneiform text. It's also recorded in
That's right.
Aborigine. I can't remember the name of what they call it, but the Aborigines also have records of it as well.
Sure. No, I don't doubt that for a second. This is I find this very fascinating, because this is, again, what this all comes down to is human origins and things like that, and maybe how we came to be. Maybe if the Earth wasn't on a different trajectory, then we wouldn't be the way we are today. I don't know. It's just another theory.
And some people are theorizing that these entities or beings, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them, if you want to call them, I think alien is kind of rude, but that's just me. But that they're here to help align the Earth back to the way that it was, supposedly. Okay. But at the same time, we've gone through multiple flips. Like I was saying, our Bermuda and our old North and South Pole. And there's actually you can go online right now. One of you can go online and look up future map of the world, and you go to images and pull it up if you're on Google or.
I'll check that out right now. Yeah, for sure.
And you can see where England's going to be underwater. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. So you start, really looking at this, and they were doing these maps back in 1950 of future world maps. Well, why were they doing that back in the 50s? Well, because they knew what was coming. Well,
Somebody
what happened
knew.
in the 1950s when they did that? What happened precursor to that? Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
So after talking with this being and starting to find other information, they know what's coming. I mean, It's just like the huge telescope that the Vatican has in Arizona called Lucifer.
Yeah.
It's one of the most powerful and technological infrared telescopes on Earth versus vice of the one in Antarctica.
Yeah.
They're looking south. What are they looking for? Something in infrared. That would be a
well, if you think about it, if you think about it, if you know occult symbology, so Lucifer is a symbol for the light, and the light is a symbol for knowledge. So they're looking for the light to bring the knowledge of the reset. That's why it's called Lucifer, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Well, Lucifer. I've done a lot of reading in the last couple of years. Of course, reading the Book of Enoch, brilliant read. I can only get through so much of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and it's like, oh man, it's kind of hard to follow.
It's a bit much.
One of my favorites actually is the Book of Melchizedek, and in the Bible, Melchizedek was a very honorable high priest of Salem, and there's actually a book, and it was found in the Qumran caves.
Okay.
And when you read in there the history of the universe, now you're supposed to go in succession from the stories. But I went straight to the history of the universe, and you learn that, and you wonder where the Catholic religion gets a lot of this information from. Well, because they have all these books, they've had them, and a lot of us know that Lucifer was the first creation of God, right? Well, it doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible. So how can the Vatican release that information? Well, because they had the Book of Melchizedek where they learned it. So Lucifer was the first creation of Source, okay, and taught him everything of the light. And then, of course, now this is actually going to get into ancient Egyptian stuff and stuff that you've heard every day, and I'll get to that here in a second. So Lucifer was going around as the perfect representation of Source Creator, okay? Then he got curious about the dark, and he went to Source and said, hey, what is this dark stuff, all the, this darkness, what is this? And Source told him, never mind that. That's not the purpose of your creation. Your creation is just to do, all the things that are the good and the light. Well, do you remember the old saying? I know you guys have heard this. Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We know the saying. Yeah.
That actually dates back to Egyptian time because cats were doorways and used for the other side. Okay, in Egypt. So curiosity killed the cat is actually what killed Lucifer from Source.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, that's a very ancient, old saying that in the whole world is. I don't know anyone in the world that doesn't know that saying. Well, why is that?
Sorry, Jacob. I've got up I just put in to Google future map of the world, and I've got up this
there
one
you
here.
go.
I just went on to images and just found this one. I mean,
that's actually the perfect one to use. Is those ones right there?
So, guys, just you probably won't be able to read it, but right at the bottom, right-hand side, that's Switzerland. And then we've got Botswana.
What is that, a flood map?
I'm looking at Africa
This is
right
a
now.
future map of the world. So this is post-reset, aka cataclysm.
This is post-flip. This is once our magnetic north. Now, what's going to happen is our magnetic north and south pole, they're constantly moving in one direction because that other dense star, Nemesis, is coming, and it's stronger than the Earth's magnetic field. So the magnetic north and south are going in the same direction. And then once it passes, they're going to go whoop, and they're literally going to snap, and the whole Earth is going to go, oh crap, and it could wind up going right back to the same location that it was, or we could just straighten perfectly up. I don't think it's going to be that. I think we're going to wind up doing another flip because after the flip and after this, I think we're going to wind up going into another ice age because think about all the fresh water that's going into the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. They're melting. You get too much water, you're going to shut your current off, and it's really very fragile. So once that gets shut down, no circulation from warm air to cold air, we're looking at another ice age. And then now flip it on top of that, there's going to be no currents. Everything's going to be sloshing around. Yeah, that could be an issue.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get back to the slides here, Jacob, mate, and we'll move on to the next one. Sorry, Lance is still trying to sort out this audio.
So to go back to the board
issue.
cubes, aside from that we're seeing on the sun, and we know about Mecca, okay?
Yeah.
The Hoover Dam.
I've actually been here.
Yeah, the Hoover Dam. You've seen those two archangels sitting on top of black board cubes, yes?
Sure, yeah. That's right.
Do you guys remember Transformers, the Allspark? It's a black cube, and where was it at? The frickin' Hoover Dam.
That's it. I've got the slide up here on the screen, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're telling us so much. Now, the funny thing is about these statues, it's made out of bronze, and bronze is made up of like 80% copper. They're antennas. Whether they're sending information, gathering it from whichever, they're antennae.
Okay.
Electrical conductors.
For a specific purpose that we don't know about.
Yep. And if you've ever actually been there and you've seen on the ground and you've seen the stuff going on the floor and you've read the different star alignments man, that's pretty ominous, man. It's like, what's going on here, man?
Well, it's definitely something going on.
And then there's another stone engraving that's there, and it looks like Poseidon kind of standing out of the water saying that 10,000 died so that the desert may live or whatever. But if you look in the waves of the water, you'll actually see it almost looks like Enlil or Enki in the water, like some kind of a large being in the water.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure it's in one of the in the slide in one of the slides I sent you, one of the pictures.
This is I'm a little bit gobsmacked, to be honest, Jacob, mate. This is really, really fascinating. I find this really cool, man. So I'm really.
Oh, dude, we're just scratching the surface.
I'm sure we are, my man. I'm
Stuff
definitely going to be
stuff,
checking out the rest of your work. That's for sure. Lance,
there
are
are
you with
times
us?
that my brain is like, man, you remember Matrix where he says, why didn't I take the blue pill? Like, there are times I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that? Like, my brain hurts sometimes.
Absolutely. So, Jacob, what have we got here on the screen?
You're looking at the Transformers. This is actually a screenshot from a picture I actually downloaded of the Allspark in the Hoover Dam.
So this is the black cube
show,
again.
They got the cube,
Yeah.
and it's there, and then these two archangels are sitting on top of Borg cubes on the outside. Borg cube over in Mecca. There's Borg cubes out
and that's,
in space. I mean,
that's here, yeah.
freaking hell.
It's a lot going on.
How many more coincidences can we have before it's an impossibility?
That's right. And this is
The
Transformers,
symbology of the symbology of the cross is also a cube.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's an unfolded
And
3D cube.
Not just that, but the cross. Now think about this. Oh, there's the one I was wanting you to look at right here. So it looks like you got Poseidon there, but if you zoom in the lower left of the waves, there's a person in there, and it actually almost looks like it could be an Anunnaki laying there, but it's like there's an individual there. It's like, why is that like that?
So there is a being there in the water. At the bottom, like, zoom in on the water, left hand
side.
side.
Blow your skirt up whether you're wearing one or not. There is not a single dam that hasn't been built in this world, these large dams like this, that has not had a sacrifice. At least one person has died, sacrificed.
Really? In every single dam that's been built?
Every single dam, someone has died in the building of it and when it was destroyed. Every one.
Interesting. That is very interesting.
You see that being? I mean, look at that being. It's like, and you can see the arm going down. I mean, that's clearly a body.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like a dead baby's body, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they died to make the desert bloom. What? In fact, I think there was like 10,000 that died building the Hoover Dam. You want to talk about overkill on sacrifices?
Well, 10,000, that's a good bloodletting for the earth.
So which dam is that on? Is that on the Hoover Dam?
This is Hoover Dam, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Hoover Dam.
Lance, how do you zoom out here?
Just do a right click. Let me do it. I'll get back on the buttons. Sorry, guys. We're swapping mics and leads over here. Yeah, this is the Hoover Dam. Okay. And look at that.
Yeah. So Jacob was saying, look, you've got these two statues here, and what are they sitting on? Black cubes.
Yeah, and people say that these statues are fallen angels.
Right. Now, here's the other thing. You're also looking at a representation of Janus, because right down on the ground you see the American eagle, but you also see the compass in the square.
Yeah.
Those two standing up like this would be like the pillars of Janus, actually being left brain and right brain, and that small, slender flagpole would be the narrow gate.
Yes.
Because it's within your pineal gland, in between your left and right hemisphere.
That's
and
right.
That's another thing that Fix and I have been digging on, is that Janus is technically in all of us. And we're still trying to get all the pieces together, but this is what we're theorizing, that it's in all of us, the left and right hemisphere of the brain.
Yeah, sure.
And, because like it says in the Bible, the narrow passage is, it's narrow because it's right here. It's in the center, dividing the pillars.
That's it. See,
We would call that the third force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Master Lee's calling that the third force. Yeah.
Turn Lee up a second, because Lee's quite quiet.
Turn Master Lee up.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, here's the thing that I think is really awkward. If you look at the toes on each of those statues, notice how they're shiny? Mm-hmm. Because so many people come by and they're touching the toes on those daggum things.
Wow.
Really? Is that why they're so shiny? That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, because people keep going up and they touch the toes on it. It's just the toes, nothing else. It almost looks like the Statue of Liberty, that green copper, because same kind of thing, made out of mostly copper. But yeah, the toes are all shiny because people keep coming up and touching on it. I'm like, man, I wouldn't touch anything there. You're not going to have my information, my data, no.
I'm surprised they haven't got Dorothy's shoes on.
Red shoes just to finish off the mockery, right?
The Wizard of Oz.
Right. What's kind of funny is I actually used to have a pair of red sneakers until I found out what that was about, and they went right in the trash.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've never really thought. Yeah, you just said Wizard of Oz, Lee. I've never really actually put that together. That obviously Dorothy's
red
magical
shoes.
slippers with the
Yeah.
red shoes. I just didn't consider that before.
Well, that's another thing about the whole Wizard of Oz. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I actually did a video on that, with that being the straw man, the tin man, TIN, your tax identification number.
Oh, you remember the red shoe diaries? I was just having a thought of all the different red shoe things, which was Mulder, wasn't it, out of X-Files?
Yeah, we use the Wonderful Wizard of Oz as part of our esoteric teaching. The Tin Man being the intellectual centre, or lack of, Scarecrow the moving centre. Because if you remember, he couldn't stand up properly; he was always bumping into things. And then the Lion was the emotional centre,
Very scared of everything.
fear-based. And then the Scarecrow was the first character that Dorothy bumped into. So in esoteric teaching,
Yeah,
you have to connect
Scarecrow
with the moving.
is actually
you have to connect with the moving
representative
centre first.
of everyone on this planet. The straw man.
Yeah.
When you're born, you don't have a brain. How many sheeple that we know of, they don't have brains? Brainless. What did he get? He got a certificate saying that, he can be smart. He got a certificate, a birth certificate. Then you're Tin Man. You go to work and you just work yourself away like a flipping robot, and you got a tin tax identification number. It's all part of their system.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, Figs and I actually did a little video on it. Yeah, I actually claimed my straw man. I actually have the original birth certificate. I've exited their system. I'm no longer a U.S. citizen. I'm an American national.
So in the UK, people who do it are called the Freeman.
Yeah, freeman of the land.
Yep, it's real. It's real stuff.
Yeah, I believe you're supposed to send your birth certificate back to the Queen, and you audit your own life.
Yeah, when you do that, you exit the legal system and are only enforceable by the lawful system. And there's a difference between legal and lawful.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. We had a chapter.
When you look at the teachings of metaphysical freedom, it's all about the exiting of not just the straw man, but the exiting of the body into, say, the astral body or etherical body.
Yep.
You got a very strong metaphysical overlay with regards to this whole subject.
I don't know if you guys can see that.
I'm just gonna.
Non-U.S. citizen, American national. Backed by gold.
That's your gold.
Yeah,
backed by gold.
It's everything. With the whole new financial system, being backed by gold. So
Right,
stuff coming. But we're not even going to touch on that.
I'm just gonna have a look here,
So
just through
anyways,
the slides of what we haven't covered so far. Because, like I say, they did sadly get all
this here.
jumbled up.
These are mine, 100% mine. The picture on the right, I was in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Which picture?
Okay.
This one
And
here.
I happened to be outside, and I was looking up, and I'm like, what the heck? Why is that a perfectly round cloud? And then I started thinking, hey, you guys remember Independence Day? Where they show this perfectly round spaceship coming out of the clouds. I'm like, what the heck? So I took a picture of it. Actually, I did a little video. So I took a picture of it. And I was like, I wonder if that'll appear on radar. So I went to the Weather Channel, looked at the radar, and you can see that round object on radar that I'm standing right by and taking a picture of.
I've seen some strange things hiding in the clouds as well in the UK. In the middle of broad
They've been
daylight.
here for decades. You remember the cartoon Chicken Little?
Yep.
Where it had that little octagon skin and they blend. Yeah, they're here, man. They've been here. I mean, that right there, they're hiding in the clouds, but there it is on radar. So, I mean, I'm standing one spot, taking a picture, radar, screenshot.
What's that saying? Every
they're
cloud
everywhere.
has a silver lining.
Yeah. I've got some theories about some cloud movement and a movement of larger ships. About when at night times you hear these loud noises or there's big events where everyone's distracted looking one way, and you have these objects in the clouds moving in another direction, but you can hear them but you can't see them. It's very interesting that they're doing this.
Yep. Now this one here, what you're looking at a. Some would call it a TR3B, but this is way bigger than a TR3B. Those waves that you're looking at with all the multiple colors, you can see where it says max, the hertz are like way high. What that is that's actually what I have is the gravitational field, because they have their own gravitational warp signatures, if you will, that they have their own warp bubble that they live in. Okay, and that's made with red mercury. Red mercury is put in the center and it's spun around really quickly. Again, we're using centrifugal force, and then it's charged using electricity, and it creates their warp bubble. So when we see these UFOs, sometimes you see it all of a sudden going, and it takes off really fast. And you're like, oh man, if you think about you being in that, it would slam our bodies up against the wall and our brains and everything would be mush.
From
But that's
inertia,
not how
yeah.
it works. They're in their own gravitational warp bubble, so they're not actually moving. They're standing still. They're moving time and space around them in that warp bubble. That's how they can move in multiple sporadic directions and so quickly.
So, do you think that this kind of technology is actually possessed by like the human military, or are you saying that? Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Okay.
In fact, we've got NASA has its own star. It's called NASA Star.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Could you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah. Now I sent you a couple of couple pictures of it where it actually showed. One of them you actually had it up a minute ago. This right here, what you're looking at, the Stinger here, or the what do they call that? The Hailer, the SM-9. This could be one of the crafts that I'm thinking that I'm seeing in some of my satellite images.
It looks like an
As
insect.
it's out in space, because you can see clearly where it looks like there's a head, and then the wings, and then a tail, and you can see a little trail behind them. Something, you know, it'll look like I just call it a little la 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 la, you know, like Big Hero 9 or whatever it is. But I mean, you can see some form of signature trail coming out behind it, and it's got wings, a tail, and a head, or a war bird of prey, like
It
if
looks
you want
a
to go
bit
to
like a
Star Trek.
stag
But
beetle.
it's something along that line. Now
What's
to go.
your, Jacob,
So
what's
that's
your
an
take
official
on,
NASA. Go on, Nick.
Yeah, what's your take on like time travel? So, as an example, what you're talking about, we could be actually looking at ourselves or coming back from the future, as an example, with
Yes.
technology.
Yes, time travel is real. It's been around for, I mean, now, did we invent it? Well, maybe not now, but in a sense, yes. And we know a lot about some of us that are in a little bit more known. We know of our higher selves. Well, there are some in the ET community that look at these, that are saying that these ETs that are here to help are actually our future selves coming back here to help us get to the next point.
Yeah, I've heard something
Which-
like
Because
that.
with
Could
these
make
subjects, with these subjects, we can't just look at one thing. We have to kind of look at everything.
Yeah,
So,
you have to look at the whole
example,
picture. Otherwise, it's just,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, you have to look at the whole rather than the parts. Although you can actually break it down, but when you put it all together, you do have to factor in something like time travel.
Yeah, and
Which
the other
would
thing is that
actually
when you, of
indicate
course, when we
coming
know that
back.
time is not linear, we know it's a loop, right?
Yeah.
So we also know that with that loop, it's also is like a torus field loop. But you've got your positive and negative loop. And I actually, here's the one I was wanting you to look at. Yeah. You got EIT 171 angstroms of light, 284 angstroms of light, two different photos, Borg cubes coming right out
Yeah,
of the
that's,
sunspot
that's
group.
really undeniable, isn't it, that one?
Yeah. Undeniable. Sorry, I've still got this buzzing on my mic. It's really strange. This buzzing is with different mics, with different cables, and on different channels. It's just me.
Wow.
Yeah, really strange.
I can hear the buzzing as well.
Yeah, can you hear it? Do you know what's really crazy, Master Lee, right? I've changed two different mics, two different cables. I've even tried this microphone on Andy's channel, right? It's actually just me that's buzzing.
I
wonder
reckon
if I
You're,
talk
you're
on-
emitting something.
Can we switch mics and see if
Yeah.
you sit here and it still buzzes?
maybe, yeah. Unless you want to change the EQ settings and just take out that frequency band.
Yeah, we're still.
We need some ETs to help us with our settings.
It's still buzzing.
One sec. Yeah, it's this position. There's something here that's creating it's picking up the electric field because it's not the microphone, it's not the
It
lead.
could be you, mate. You could be getting targeted, and they're hitting you with some kind of a energy weapon. Where
Don't- don't make him think
It's
that.
this spot right here. It's actually locational because wherever something is plugged in here, we get the feedback.
I reckon the mic's probably too close to the monitors, the TV monitors.
It's
you've
never
taken
been.
too many
It's never been an
supplements.
issue before.
No, it just happened a minute ago.
It's too many supplements.
Yeah.
Oh, the buzzing's gone.
Yeah, that's because I muted my mic. When you hear the buzzing going, it's because I'm muting this mic, and I've, like I say, I've swapped
No,
mics.
it's still
and swapped
gone.
leads.
Yeah, it's
Can
not
you
there
hear it
now.
now?
No.
I can hear it.
Hold on.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's subtle. We can get away with it.
Let's rise above that.
Right, so here we're rising above it. Right, this is one of the photos which I've been trying to get to.
The Dark Knight.
Did you take this one yourself, Jacob?
Now what I did is, go back to that other one with the blue and the red. Now the blue and the yellow; those are actually two that I actually split screened and tied together from screens that I actually downloaded. Now, the one that you're looking at now, that's actually the Black Knight satellite.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see here, I actually have the dates on top. EIT, 171 angstroms of light, April 29th, 2013. The other one is 284 angstroms of light, April 17th, 2022. Two different, completely different angstroms of light, 9 years difference, and they're still there. You know, you've got plasma covering part of that cube. That's not a digital anomaly.
No, for sure. I completely agree with that. Even the yellow one on the right hand side even looks, if you look on the bottom left hand corner, it looks like there's a figure, like some sort of like sinister figure.
I've got. Do you guys remember the movie? I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but The Green Lantern.
Yeah, I know the Green Lantern.
Ryan Reynolds. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I've seen that film. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, you remember that at the end where that big creature was up at the sun and it was being pulled into the sun. You remember his face?
Yes,
I've actually got images from the sun, believe it or not, in 94 angstroms of light, which is a green light, and you can literally see two eyes and a mouth looking just like that freaking creature. Like, it's the most eerie thing. It's like, that's from the freaking movie. What? Are you kidding me? And at one point it actually looks like, because you have positive and negative polarities, and at one point it actually looks like it's winking. Like it's wicked.
I think you've actually uncovered some quite interesting stuff here, right? Now, there was one thing that I wanted to bring up, because I was conscious we had you until about 11. There was one thing that's in my slideshow that's coming up. I've been talking about how all these crazy clown narratives are actually getting schwabbed together. And because you've been doing your research into the sun, I wanted to ask you about this. And you'd already mentioned it. It's called a coronal mass ejection, Jacob, right? Now, everyone already knows that watches the show that corona means crown, okay? So we have the crown virus, and we have something called a CME, a coronal mass injection. Now, I hope you can see the screen. This is really the essence of...
It takes a minute for me to actually be able to see it because there's a lag in YouTube.
So I'll just read it up here. The New Scientist says that solar storms may cause up to 5,500 heart attack or heart-related deaths in a given year. In an approximate, listen to this, 11-year cycle, the sun blasts out charged particles and magnetized plasma that can distort the Earth's magnetic field. It may disrupt our body clock and ultimately affect the heart. And on the right, I've just shown the Wikipedia, the coronal mass ejection imagery, right? Now, is it a coincidence that in the last 2 years, we've had a corona mass injection, and now we're approaching a period of increased sun activity and coronal mass ejections? Now, I've talked about coinciditis. This is where it all gets swapped together. You can see what's happening, comrades, right? We've talked about all of these ridiculous excuses for why people are dying of sudden coinciditis or heart attacks, right? Now, on the face of it, this story seems stupid, like, death by climate change, right? But maybe there is something in this. The coronal... can you see where I'm going, Jacob?
No.
Coronal mass injection leading to coronal mass ejection.
Now, here's the thing. With them calling it a coronal mass ejection is kind of a funny coincidence, which we know is no such thing as a coincidence. But when you look at it, Jesus Christ is king, right? He's the king. In the Bible, he's king, right? In New Testament. Well, when Jesus died, and this kind of goes back to the cube thing, how the cube unfolded looks like a cross, right? Jesus died on the cross,
the cube,
or planet of the crossing. Okay, and so when Nemesis passed, there was 3 days of darkness where the earth was trembling, fireballs falling from the heavens. Sounds like Nemesis passed.
Fire and brimstone.
And then when he died during when? During the week of what? Passover?
Oh dear. Wait a minute. I think you might be onto something here.
You know what I mean? He died during the week of Passover, and then he died, and then all of a sudden he rose 3 days later back from the dead, our son. That's literally what they're talking about, is our sun. The Bible is a hitchhiker's guide to the galaxy. It's a galactic farmer's almanac.
Well, this is what Zeitgeist was pointing out, wasn't it, about the relationship between Jesus and the solar movement?
Yeah, Jesus.
It's this sun cult.
This whole story of Jesus is like a personification of a sun deity, basically.
Now, Now, what you were just talking about with your coronal mass ejections with the 11 years, that's called a solar cycle, and it's an 11-year solar cycle. Now, it's not always exactly 11 years. Sometimes they overlay. We're actually in solar cycle 25, but 24 and 25. And what it is the polarities of the sun, because we have north and south pole on the sun, right? But the polarities flip. So out of the north, you can get the northern polarity, and out of the south, you get the southern polarity.
So,
and then what will happen is it'll actually flip, and then the north pole will actually give out the southern polarity energy, and the northern polarity will come from the south. So that's how the solar cycles work, and they cancel each other out at the equatorial plane, which is why we watch along the equatorial plane the most for coronal holes and for also for active regions for sunspot groups, because that's when they're going to really be flying off. Because once again, centrifugal force, there's a lot of movement, a lot of stuff happening. Plus, you've got the polarities pushing at the same time. And this year, solar cycle 25, we are way off the charts. This is supposed to be a solar cycle minimum. No, we are way high. And if you guys watch my some of my stuff on Solar Channel, I actually show it. I mean, we're way high. We're at a solar cycle maximum. We're in solar maximum. We're not in a minimum.
For what it's worth, regarding the open mystery school teaching, correlation with the sun, or solar, actually the heart chakra.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the correlation with soul is connected to the heart, to the emotions.
Yes.
So everything really is being schwabbed together.
Yeah. I mean, even just from that alone, there's a direct connection between the sun influence and the heart.
Yep. And there's so many levels to the heart, as for like as above, so below, and there have been many things. I don't want to call them theories, but people have stated, the Earth. And really, if you think about it, we've all heard the term Mother Earth, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Well, the Earth, in a sense, is our mother. I mean, she gives us life, and if you want to look at Earth as a sentient being, because she is alive, and we live. If she wasn't alive, we wouldn't be alive. That's pretty common sense.
Yeah, sure.
If you look at India looks like the shape of a heart.
Do you mean the shape of the country geographically? The
shape of India looks like the shape of a heart. Now, I've also got on from windy.com, I don't know if I sent you the image or not, but I've actually shown on some of my channels where I've actually seen anomalies, energy anomalies that look like veins all over India, looking like a heartbeat, like it was pulsing.
Wow. Like an actual heart.
And with those, I've also gone as far as like reading into star forts. I've sent you some stuff on star forts as well in that slide, which is what brought me down the road of star forts, because especially around Havana, Cuba, right at the entrance from the Gulf of Mexico coming in, you've got 5 star forts right there at port, and they're massive. And I've seen very strange energy signatures of vortexes going counterclockwise. And I've talked with Michael Tillinger. I actually sent an email to Michael Tillinger, and he and I have corresponded a couple times on these energy signatures that I'm seeing. And he was blown away. He was like, "What the heck is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I was sending it to you, hoping you could tell me."
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I don't know, but that's fascinating. So I've seen them going counterclockwise and clockwise, and in different patterns. Star forts. One of them's in Camagüey. And the one, if there's one or several in Camagüey, they're covered by Google Earth. You won't be able to zoom in on and be able to find them in Camagüey. I've spent hours trying to find them, and I can't.
Yeah, I'm sure
So
they blur
blotting
shit
them
like
out,
that out.
or the trees, the natural trees are actually covering where it would be at, if because it just hasn't been discovered yet, if you will.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Havana, Cuba, very, very obvious.
This is incredible. We've already talked about on the show about like the energy field of the Earth and how, as above, so below, we can look at like a city and it starts to look like exactly like a circuit board. So like the parasite seems to be farming some energy. But if you're saying that there's literally, I mean, I've seen those kind of like tributaries and rivers and on the map, especially in countries like India and the Amazon and stuff, and it looks exactly like veins, like the life force running through the planet. Yeah, it's really interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, there's the energies are quite strange. In fact, one of the things that Rob actually really appreciated at one point was, when I go do windy.com, I also look at like nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, air quality and stuff like that in different areas. And certain places have really bad air quality, and it's got to make you wonder why. And some of them are like out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, what's going on over there?
Yeah. It's the opposite to what it should be.
Yep. For sure. Now, one of the other things that we have to keep in mind, one of the things that I do talk about, I actually just did today, that volcanoes. We know that there's volcanoes that are starting to go off. Japan, the big one in Japan is starting to go off. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis. When we get impacted by coronal mass ejection, we get affected by space weather. Okay, so if again, we're going to take the Earth as a globe. Okay, so let's say the Earth is like a punching bag. Okay, a round punching bag. Okay, and you punch it. Coronal mass ejection being that punch. Okay, it's not just the initial punch that's going to affect the Earth. It's the reverberation back as it comes back and expands, because that shock goes all the way through to the other side and then reverberates back. And when that happens, tectonic plates start shifting. We start having volcanoes. We start having lots of earthquakes. Then that pops off tsunami buoys. We've got one going off in the Gulf of Mexico, another one going off in New York as we speak right now. In really ominous places. Like, why are those going off? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, for what reason? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob. I'm just cycling. I'm just cycling through the images here. You sent so many. It's some incredible observations you've made here, and I know that some of the things you've said, some people watching might not agree with, but the reason that we have so many varied guests on this show with so many different ideas and so many different interpretations of what's going on is for exactly this reason, is to bring as much to the table. To be open-minded. Yeah, of course. Did we talk about this?
No.
Yeah, what is this?
The fly.
What is what?
Can you see that, Jacob? This photo we just got up of some crazy craft. I'm just cycling through the hundreds of images you sent.
Yeah. It's craft. You see those 3 round knobs?
Where was this taken?
That was taken in our atmosphere. Now, I did not that is not my photo. However, those crafts are the ones that I'm catching by the sun that are skimming by. Remember when you've seen it in green and you can see the trail behind it, and you've seen the little guy up above it?
Yeah.
That's those guys. Yeah. I've got several images where I've zoomed in. I don't remember if I sent you any, but if you do zoom in, you can actually see it's like a triangle with 3 round knobs on each end of it, and that's those guys right there.
Incredible stuff.
Now, I've also got in there somewhere, there should be some that actually look like an actual bird in the sky.
Yep, just found
like
that.
An actual bird. You would swear to God it's a hawk, but it's not.
Like a chicken.
It's a ship, because as it turns around, you can actually see different thrusters coming out from under it as it's rotating around. Yep, there you go, right there. And once again, it looks just like some of the ones I'm getting out in space with wings, a head, and a tail. Klingon war bird of prey.
Wow.
What is Enlil's animal? His representation animal.
Oh,
it's
shit!
A freaking bird. It's an eagle
with a big flying, like the big golden flying discs that are on many different ancient cultures. Doesn't it look exactly like this? This looks like one of the spacecraft out of Stargate, the film.
Yeah, Stargate was the one that they did in Stargate was a little bit different. It looked like a crescent moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now when we're talking about that's the other thing. Stargate. I've been relating things to movies because we know they have to tell us things in movies. And if you go back far enough and you find out, okay, there's the NASA star. You're actually pulling up on that right now. The NASA star. That's actually when they sent that in to the patent office for the NASA star. And I've got images of it in space. In fact, I think I sent you a little video of it coming between Earth and Venus. I think I sent you that video. But anyway, so with the movie Stargate, they actually told us a lot of truths in there. If you guys saw Stargate, you remember how Daniel, he felt he was down in that bed and he came up and he came back to life. When he got shot, that was a med bed.
Have you researched on the CIA website about Project Stargate and I can't think what the files are called now.
I've done a lot of research and reading. I mean, we're talking about, paperclip, high jump. I mean, I've read a whole lot of it. The whole remote view. I've done so much reading.
It's the Corpse International, isn't it, or something like that called?
You're gonna have to speak a little louder, but I have a hard time hearing on Skype.
Sorry. Yeah. So there was a company called, was it Corporate?
Oh, whoa. Hang on a second. Sorry. Go back to this one. Now, in the upper, the one where it showed the Earth, go back to that photo. And this is something that's really awesome. If you go back to that photo and you zoom in the upper right corner, along the Earth, you will actually see in our atmosphere, or just above our atmosphere, 5 or 6 little crafts that I'm seeing on satellite. You got to go up a little bit higher. There you go. Now, if you can scroll up and down, you should be able to see them. But they're on the Earth side, not the dark side, the Earth side.
Oh, on the Earth side, right? Okay.
This one you got to zoom really high. Now I actually downloaded this right.
Yeah,
from
I
the
can see
ISS.
them. I don't know if anyone can see them though. This is the most I can zoom in. I was looking on the outer Earth. Right. Okay.
Keep going up a little bit.
No, I can see them. They're actually here. If anyone can see my mouse, let me just make this full screen. This is the biggest I can possibly make it. It's these 5 little dots here, and I can actually look, and they are quite clearly 5 individual things. They seem to be semi-spherical because they have a lighter pointy edge pointing towards us, so you can see the 3 dimensions of them. I'm just looking as closely as I can. Yeah, okay, I've spied them. That's a very good find.
That right there. When I saw those, now I go through a lot of images, and I'm always looking at stuff and zooming in, and I'm trying to find the needles in the haystack. You know what I mean? And trust me, my brain hurts.
Look
sometimes.
how many sex bots we've got at the moment. You must be onto something good here, Jacob. You know about the sex bot attacks on Rise Above. We are literally being swarmed by multinational sex bots.
If the admins can deal with them, Sam Carno and
dude, they're blasting both my channels. Every time I do a video, there'll be 2 or 3 sex bot channels. Oh, come to this sex.com or whatever. And I'm like, bloody hell,
mate. We were even getting sex bots in the comments on the other channel, like on the non-live videos. It's crazy. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because let me just zoom in again, right? I'm just looking at the spacing of these 5 little things and how they're very uniform. They're completely in line. If I was looking at those from the surface of the realm, they would look like, does anyone remember when the Musk satellites went up and you saw the line of lights going across the sky? Yeah. To me, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, that looks very similar to what we were seeing when we looked up and we were told that it was Musk satellites. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yep. Now, when I see those, I'm seeing the string of 6 that I see on satellite. The ones that we've been seeing that are in the 3 groups of 2, the 3 pairs. Yeah. When I see that, that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, oh, here, now they're in our atmosphere.
I hope everyone can see that, because obviously it is very small, and I'm just trying to point at it with the cursor there.
Oh, they're there.
They're definitely there, 100%.
That one was a hard needle to find.
Yeah, certainly.
You must have been doing some serious scrolling and zooming for that one.
Dude, you have, like I said, I've got over 5. I literally have over 5,000 images on my computer, and the ones that once I really go through one, I get rid of it. I get rid, and then I'm looking through another one. So I'm always trying to find those needles, because they're out there for us to see, but not everybody has eyes to see or ears to hear, as we know.
Yeah, of course.
Sure. I mean, I spent a long time looking at these sort of images in my life, and I think when
images in my life, it's been a long time. Images in my life.
Do you ever check out?
Right here, right now, is where we draw the line.
Sorry, I just had to do that. Sorry, Andy Homer, carry on.
Open your mind.
Are we going to have a jingle off, are we?
Well, no, we're not going to jingle off, but I thought might as well start it on. No, I remember seeing images from the Google Mars satellite recently, that they've done the Google Mars one, and they've got all sorts of crazy things people are trying to pass off as it's a false imagery, but really it's just a satellite scan of the planet, isn't it?
Well, satellites above Mars, I'll be honest, I don't know about all that.
No?
The whole landing of a rover on Mars.
Yeah, I'm not too sold on rover
being on Mars. Canada.
Oh, wait a minute. So you're an interesting one, Jacob. You're a potential glober, but you also properly doubt NASA.
I doubt the government.
And
100%.
You also think that what we're seeing, apparently Mars, and satellites landing
is more moon landing bullshit.
That's interesting. It's good.
Well,
hey, it's good to have a spread.
I already know that the whole moon landing, that was BS.
Yeah, 100%.
We didn't land on the moon in 1960, whatever it was.
No,
do
that
you,
was
do
another
you think
mass
anyone
ritual.
has ever landed on the moon?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. What do you think the moon is?
Let me correct this. I don't think we've left this planet, traveled by a ship that we've built, and gone to the moon.
Okay, that's that. You've clarified that.
I will make it that way. Now, could we have gone in another craft because of extraterrestrial contact and gone on one of theirs? Sure. Could we have gone through a stargate or a door portal that we have here on this realm and gone to the moon that way? Sure.
So I'm going to ask you the question. Do you think the moon is a physical satellite as described?
I think the moon is an in-place satellite and that it's hollow and that there was extraterrestrial beings living inside at one point or still are now. And I already know that there are bases and activities going on the moon. I've got several photos of it.
That's like the Death Star hypothesis,
if anybody
right?
follows Bruce Seasall on YouTube, he's got a huge 14-inch Celestron scope that he has hooked up to his computer, and he shows it all the time. I love Bruce. He's a great guy.
Awesome. Yeah,
he's got a couple where he's actually shown in one of the craters on the moon a flipping door opening and cracks coming out of it, and that door closing. Like, no joke. He's showing the real stuff up there.
Hey, this is Rise Above. We're open to everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love this kind of material.
No. I'm really glad you've come on and shared these ideas because, we've been talking a lot about infinite horizontal planes. We've been talking about simulation theory. We've been, dabbling with Godvaj's physical crater realm hypothesis. And I can see plausibility in all of these ideas. And as Master Lee...
in every theory.
Yeah, and you've said that reality is probably much more fluid than we believe, Master Lee, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could all be right. Remember, if you look at the whole thing...
When we realize, Master Lee, I'm sure you would agree with this, that we know that there are multiple dimensions and universes parallel to each other, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and we know that every single time they fire CERN up and they're colliding particles, it literally destroys the universe that we live in, and we merge with a parallel universe next to it. So they've been doing that so much. Who's to say that all of those aren't correct? And this is one of the things that I've mentioned before. Like, who's to say at one timeline that we lived in one universe that was parallel, that we weren't a flat Earth, and then another one it's a globe, and then another one it's a crater, part of a bigger globe. Who's to say all three are not correct? Depends on which parallel universe that we were in when we merged into this one.
Sure.
I believe. I think that they exist because multiple people believe they exist. Therefore, they've been manifested from these people's energies.
It's the same as religion.
Exactly, same as religion.
Well, if it's true that we are transmitter receivers, we are co-creators, and we're actually rendering the universe around us built on our own personal and collective beliefs, so on the individual level and the aggregate, if we have a multitude of views about whether we're living on a physical spinning ball, a crater realm, a toroidal energy field, a holospheric simulacrum, as Jason Archaics puts it, which I think is excellent. At the end of the day, if it's really true that we are these powerful sparks of creation animating a crystalline projected meat suit, and we actually have power over this, then I think it is potentially true that all of these things could have some truth about them. Wow, that's a whole rabbit hole.
Power of manifestation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, part of the things that they tell us about in with movies and stuff, believe it or not, so I actually did a little breakdown on Superman, the movie Superman. I know we're kind of getting a little silly here, but Superman is actually part of reality. Superman is actually a story of the Anunnaki, because their star, which is a red star, okay, just like Nemesis, and their people, well, from their planet, when they come here, they have like superpowers. They're stronger, they're faster, they can fly, lasers and all that kind of stuff. Well, it also ties to crystals. When you look at crystals, like our phones, our screen, it's not glass. That's actually made out of crystal. Your quartz watch got a quartz crystal inside the battery, which is for piezoelectricity. Same thing with the lighter. When it goes click, click, and it puts that little blue spark, crystal power, crystal energy, piezoelectricity. When he took that green crystal from he found in the barn, he threw it at in Antarctica, whatever. And all of a sudden, boom, it had memory, it had data in it, and it built a big crystal palace. And then he goes and he takes a crystal, puts it inside a little hologram, pops up, and he's learning about the universe, about Earth, the histories of everything. Do you know what's inside of a USB thumb drive that stores your data? a crystal.
Yeah. Paul from What the Flock TV did a whole video about, I'm sure it was Paul, about how, we're actually crystalline beings. If you look at, cell structure and the way the DNA forms and everything, and it's incredible. When you really sort of zoom out and zoom in at the same time with this sort of whole rabbit flex and look at the nature of reality, the nature of the realm, the nature of physicality, what it is, what are we actually made of? What is if we believe in this physical universe, what are the bits and pieces putting us together? And
in the development of higher being bodies, it's about the crystallization of the higher being body. So, as an example, most people can recognize that they have a physical skeleton structure and a meat suit that lives in a three-dimensional, five-sense reality.
Yeah.
When you try and talk about anything other than that, like say an astral body, a lot of people will say, well, it doesn't exist, it's not real, it's imagination, it's fantasy. Well, for them it doesn't. For them it doesn't exist because they haven't crystallized it, and they haven't applied any coating, or they haven't firmed up that other body or other bodies. Now, at the moment of death, when this body goes away, potentially, if they haven't developed any form of crystallization in another body, then they will have no body to inhabit.
Yeah.
And that's what the work, that's what the conscious labor, the work is actually all about. It's the development of another body or spacecraft vehicle to transport consciousness.
Yeah. Now, one of the other things I'm going to tie, now believe it or not, I'm going to actually work about the Tartarian, the Starforts, and Superman. And one of I think I have it in Food for Thought, in my playlist. Around most Starforts that I found, a Superman symbol is on the ground somewhere nearby.
Like the S?
What? And then I've also found Death Stars. Like big round and something like a little small, it looks like a Death Star. So you got your Starfort, Tartarian Starfort, and somewheres around it, you'll from Google Earth looking down, you'll see a Death Star, and you look around a little bit more, and you'll find the Superman symbol that looks like a diamond, and it's like, what is going on here?
Representation of something else.
Every single Mormon temple is made out of marble and granite, and they're Starforts, and they're shaped like Starforts, right? In every way.
Well, if you think about it, we're made of carbon. If you burn anything down with us, we end up with carbon soot, yeah? That carbon is, diamond and graphite, I think, is it? These are both crystals.
Yeah. Yeah, we're crystalline beings.
Yep.
Someone put here, Sue Evans put, when our blood dries, it crystallizes.
Which is maybe
we're definitely crystalline beings. Now, our bodies, we know that water holds memory as well. Right? Well, our bodies are made up of water, and we've got a whole bunch of DNA. So, and when I was younger, I wanted to get a motorcycle custom painted, and I wanted to have it saying on it, having my family crest, all the family crests that I have through both sides of the family, because with the thought in mind that my family is riding on me and I'm riding on my ancestors. Well, we are our ancestors, like. Everything that all of our ancestors on both sides, all the way back, as far back as you can go, we have all of that genetic code, all of that data from all of them in us right now.
Similar to the.
So imagine if all of our DNA was activated, and we're going to get into chromosomes. We've got 22 chromosomes, well, 23, but one decides male and female. Only one is active out of the other 22. Why aren't the other ones? What would happen if the other ones got activated?
Yeah, that's a very good point. The junk DNA as well.
In different, what was it? Aztec. Some of the Aztec drawings and designs. The tree of life that they have has 22 leaves on it, or 22 pieces of fruit, symbolizing the chromosomes.
Yeah. So it's all coded in there, isn't it?
Next
it's all coded.
solar flash that we have the great, almost like really it's going to be a huge flare. I have a feeling that's going to activate a lot of our genetic codes. I think we're going to start waking up here before too long.
Some people
more so than we are. We're going to start realizing our powers, like who we are, the whole lot.
When do you think that this event could potentially happen? What kind of time frame are you talking about? This polar shift, solar flash event, because it seems that like a lot of people are talking about this, and it seems like it might be one event where this all happens. Are you talking about in decades, centuries? What?
I think we're going to see a lot of things change by 2030. I'm thinking a 2030 timeline, something around there. I've actually, back when I was really hard with the Bible thumping part, from that aspect, I shouldn't say Bible thumping, but from the Christian aspect of it only, before I, really started waking up and realizing the truth of things. When you look at timelines, I've actually got some stuff done up when 2030 is looking like it's stuff's going to happen in 2030. Like that's going to be like the major ordeal.
Like the singularity.
But I can't tell you for sure, because I don't have a crystal ball and I'm not there yet. Collide particles at CERN, it changes the timeline. It changes the universe. So it could be here earlier. So I'm saying 2030. Well, it could be next week. You know what I mean? Every time that they do, and we don't know. And one of the ways that we can tell if they're firing CERN up is the Italian model for the Schumann resonance, and that's a really good indicator. You can see lightning as it kind of spikes up like this, but when you watch it, and all of a sudden it just shoots straight up, it's like a big red brick wall. CERN is on, and it's in Cumiana, Italy, which is just a stone's throw away from CERN. So every time CERN fires up, the Italian model for the Schumann and tells on it.
Because people are following the Schumann resonance quite closely and posting pictures of it all the time, like spiking. I did a speech about it in 2020, when just explaining to people who probably never heard about it, and said how it started speeding up in 1983 when the internet was created. And I tried to sort of insinuate that the creation of the internet that sort of sped up the sharing of human consciousness actually affected the Schumann resonance and caused that to speed up as well.
Yes, and actually one of the best ways to know if we're having, and actually if the Earth is actually responding or waking up, or if the Earth is sending out more information, is to try and use as many Schumann resonance models that you can find. And the two that I use the most, one of them is in Tomsk, Russia. It's on disclosurenews.com, I think it is. And then there's the Italian model for the Schumann. And if both of them are in correlation, both of them are actually, you're seeing events happen, then the Earth itself more than likely is something's going on with the Earth. But if it's just Italy, you scroll down to the bottom and you look over, then you'll see lightning and thunderstorms. And we know that CERN creates lightning. So that's why when you watch the graph, when you're watching it, if it kind of slowly kind of goes up and then slowly comes back down, odds are it's probably just a natural occurring thunderstorm. But if you see any kind of a straight up brick wall, they just turn down CERN.
I wonder if the same thing happens when they turn HARP on as well.
What's that?
I wonder if when they turn HARP on, I wonder if the same thing happens.
If they turn HARP?
Yeah, HARP.
No, I don't think so. No, because HARP is much smaller than CERN. See,
CERN's huge.
And this is one of my big concerns when it comes to CERN, is that in France, they actually shipped the world's largest magnet to France. And they said it was for a thermonuclear reactor, but that thermonuclear reactor is not even 50 miles away from CERN. Now, this magnet that they have for this thermonuclear reactor has a magnetic field that it produces that is over 10,000 times stronger than the Earth's geomagnetic field alone, than the Earth's gravitational magnetic field. Now, put that into perspective with comets or meteors that are going by. That could pull it right down, because they're all made of iron. Yeah. They could pull them right down to us.
It's pretty concerning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about CERN a lot. Jacob, I'm quite conscious of the time. We're now at 11:30. So we've had you on for like 2 hours now. Thank you very much for joining us, man. And I'm just going to put another link on the screen. So if anyone wants to check out your YouTube, Sam Carno, can you hit us with a link again, please? Yeah, Jacob, it's been fascinating because you've drawn quite a lot of few things together there. You've also probably ruffled a few feathers with your views about the Earth and
I'm
these,
good with
these
it.
crafts. And yeah, that's part of the reason why it's good to have you on. It's great. So, mate, I just want to say a massive thank you and basically tell you to keep up the good work.
Oh man, I'm actually really honored, and I'm very thankful that you guys had me on. Been kind of talking with after being with Rob. I was like, I'd like to get on with those guys and kind of share with them. And thank you for having me. And like I tell everybody, just everybody keep your eyes open,
Sure.
no fear, and remember that love is the only way forward.
Absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, Jacob. I want to say a little sorry because I was a little bit preoccupied with audio issues. We'll probably get you back on again in the future. But thanks very much for coming on, dude. Rise above.
Count on it. You guys have a good one. God bless.
Crater-dwelling peasants.
I actually meant to press the rise above button. I didn't mean to call you a crater-dwelling peasant there.
I pushed that button.
Was that you?
Yeah, I beat you to it. The meme off, I win.
You won the meme off. Oh, Jacob, that was amazing. Right.
Open your mind.
Okay, I think we need some Moma beats, don't we? We need some Moma beats because I can sort out this infernal buzzing. What you got for us, Beats?
Got some music, what do you reckon?
Yeah, that'll do. Come on then. Don't forget to make the lights flash, you peasant.
Come on, my selector.
Hi, I'm Double LMC. You probably know me from such productions as Rise Above Live on a Friday night, or the infamous Serco speech. But I'm not here today to warn you about the Soviet Union. I'm here to tell you about an exciting new product from Roots Brands Wellness. It's called Zero In, fully approved by Inspector Veg and the FDA. In each of these organic capsules, it's packed with essential vitamins, minerals and nutraceutical berry extracts plucked from the organic peasant sphere and mixed together in an expert fashion to stimulate and invigorate your meat suit brain. These make your meat suit perform at absolute optimum level. Rise Above simply wouldn't be able to perform at the levels they do without these amazing capsules. 100% made from berries, vegetables, vitamins and minerals, these capsules stimulate the serotonin and dopamine production. They make you feel like a sexual Tyrannosaurus 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, 33 days a month. When I take these tablets in the morning, I feel like I can achieve at least 33% more. If you want to support Rise Above, you can purchase Zero In or other fantastic products from Roots Brands Wellness. Please use the link to support us. Packed with 33 essential ingredients plucked from the organic peasant sphere to nutraceutically boost your peasant meat suit. Get these capsules now, Rise Above.